my gosh. Startled me.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna go live on the Facebook. Okay, here we go. We're back. Catch up, chat about 2023, 2024, and welcome guests from the All Armed Relations Land Trust. And big news on the format of the show moving forward. Ready, buddy?
Yes.
Ta-da. Huh.
It
Okay,
says it's recorded, but it's not
it's not live, right?
Oh wait, it's on the I gotta check the YouTube.
No, this is what Facebook
Oh right, we're on
live.
starting on Facebook.
That is
And
live.
then
It's funny because it said it wasn't, it said unsupported get request, but it does seem to be live on.
oh no, I see it. Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's
Great. Look at that.
Saturday night and it's live.
Yeah, it's a little weak signal, but
Ah,
it's working.
it is. Sometimes we don't have to know how or why, but it's doing it, even though it's telling us it's not.
Yeah. We
Man.
got we'll be able to post it after anyway, right?
Oh, now mine says waiting for a live video signal.
Oh yeah, me too. This broadcast is waiting for a signal. It should resume shortly.
Okay, let's go back to here. Go live. Okay, setting up your meeting. See, this is why we're connection is timed out. Please try again.
What the hell?
Okay.
Oh, now I see two live videos on the page.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
this one's working. This one, they're both working. What the heck? Are you? Does it say you're streaming twice anyway?
Well, this one says, yeah, this one says it's been live for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Oh,
Nice.
goodness. Well, we're going to just keep our eyes on this tonight and see how that plays itself out, right?
Yeah.
And and this is in fact why, and we'll repeat it later, but why our big news is that we are going to make some changes to the way we deliver the show. But first of all, Happy New Year!
Yeah. Happy New Year, man.
And
Happy
oh,
holidays. Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas! Oh, happy
Happy.
birthday!
It's been a
Happy
while.
birthday, Brendan!
Oh yeah.
All of
Oh
them.
my God, that's
All of
crazy.
them.
That's how long it's been, eh?
It has
That's
been a
wild.
minute, and
Past like how long ago was my birthday? I don't know. It flew by so quick. All that time, that break.
I tell you. So here, let's. Can you make a pinky swear? Let's make a pinky swear.
All right.
All right, here we go. We are not going to take a break that long again.
All right, deal.
That was far too long. And it's funny, So we stopped in the summer because it was just there was so much happening in the summer and so much going on. And we were chatting about a month ago or so, and you had said something, and it just made such sense. It's like you're like, Saturday nights, they're like there's like lots of stuff happening.
Yeah, I was like, I never realized how much stuff happens on Saturdays.
Yeah, totally. And it's so
It
true.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fairness, for the first 18 months that we did this, there was nothing happening on Saturdays.
Literally nothing. Couldn't even leave the
Yeah,
house, right?
like legally. So the first big announcement is that starting next week, our show's still 7 p.m., still live,
Same
on
place.
Sunday nights. Sunday nights. We're gonna be the new Disney. That's what we're gonna be.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? As do you, you might be too young, but your mom and dad would remember on Sunday nights there was always Disney.
Was that when they played the classic Disney's?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think, yeah, with
So
like
on
Donald,
Sunday
Goofy,
nights,
and Mickey.
yeah, and like movies and stuff. And so when I was a kid, we had like set hours we were allowed to watch TV. Like in a week, we had like we had to pick what TV we were going to watch based on how many hours we had to watch that week. And uh, and not like there were a lot of choices because there was
There was like what, 10 channels back then?
yeah, like we didn't have cable. So it was just a matter of picking the shows you would want to watch. And for me, because this might surprise some people, it might surprise you, Brennan, but I might have been naughty as a child.
Really?
Yeah,
Never would have guessed.
and mischievous and often getting grounded. And the punishment was lose TV time, right? TV
Oh,
hours.
I'd be devastated.
And when I mean hours, I mean hours. Like we had I think we had like 2 or 3 hours a week. Like that's what we started with. Like that's what we were. And it might not even been that much even. And maybe it was 20 for all I remember. Who knows? But I think it was just like a couple of hours. But Sunday nights, there were two free times that we could watch TV that didn't count to our hours. One was TVO, TV Ontario, used to have a show. LB Oast was the host of it. He was this old film critic guy, and he would play old movies. To me, they were old movies. They were movies that my parents had watched when they were kids and stuff, right? And so
Humphrey
LB,
Bogart and stuff.
yeah, exactly. And so if anyone remembers
Nice.
the name of that show was watching it, I'd be curious to know. Lana's back. Lana says, "Hello, my handsome friends. I can hear and see you both. Awesome sauce." But Elwe Oast had this show, so we'd watch those, and they didn't count towards our movie time, our TV time. And on Sunday nights, we could watch the Disney. And again, does anyone remember what that's called? It was the Disney every Sunday,
Family hour.
whatever it was.
No?
Sometimes it was longer because it was like sometimes the movie and. But again, I would often not be able to watch it because I hadn't done my homework. So then I'd have to be doing my homework and I could listen to them. I could hear them watching Disney upstairs. And but yeah, so whatever that show was called. So anyways, I think we're gonna be the new Disney.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Family,
Minus all the bad parts and the, the all the scary stuff.
all the
Disney's
scary stuff. Like
like
the bad
known
parts of
for.
Disney.
Yeah, like how all the CEOs are like really bad people and all that Epstein stuff and all that. All that
Okay.
hoopla.
Well, I'm sort of intrigued by the fact because your family is very Disney family. You guys
Oh,
are,
my parents are obsessed with it. It's their addiction, 100%.
oh
Like
yeah.
we're going back in like a month.
Are you really?
Like well, like 2 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness,
End of February, yeah, for my mom's um it's 50th, I think.
yes, yes, yeah.
And yeah, we're doing the
A marathon.
Princess Marathon. Yeah, Disney Princess Marathon.
Yeah.
Cinderella, maybe.
Who's going on that trip?
It's me, mom, Brady, Maddie, and dad. Just
Oh,
the
isn't
five of
that
us.
lovely? Just you
Yeah.
guys. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And
And it's Brady's birthday too. He's was like, I don't know if it's the same day as mom or day before.
he's gonna turn 16.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Crazy.
So
Yeah.
and you're all running the marathon.
No, just me, Brady, and mom and dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
didn't want to.
And you are training currently?
No, not really.
Isn't a marathon a long run? I don't know
Yeah.
anything.
I'm only signed up for the 10K. So
Only the 10K.
yeah.
Are you so I walk every day. I
Mhm.
walk, get my steps, I get my physical goals hit every day, and I have for now multiple years. I could probably only run, and I'm not exaggerating, probably a quarter of a kilometer. Like,
That's a different kind of cardio though.
yeah, like it's completely different. Like, and my knees and my shins. So the last time I ran was with Wanique, and so Wanique Horn,
Wow.
it was
During
20,
COVID.
and she created this program. Remember that program she created on
That was
Instagram?
a really awesome program. Yeah, I
Was
remember.
I did it every day, and then the day that we were supposed to do, like the day it was completed, it was the 5K, and I decided that because I had now done this every day for 3 months, like walking, and when I started, and I was like right pregnant shape, I was
Uh,
like, I was like, I couldn't walk 5K the first day, right? And so the day we were doing it, I was going to walk my 5K. I had the time I wanted to beat. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to run this because I've been doing this for 3 months. So of course I can run it. I ran for less than 5 minutes and I thought my knees, someone had set them on fire. Or my knees, my shins. It
mm.
felt like someone, I couldn't even walk, let alone run.
To
So
get bad shin splints after.
if that's what they were called, I don't know. All I know, it felt like someone took a bat to them.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, that's the end of my running career. Experience that again. So,
Yeah, that's
well, that's
brutal.
awesome that you're doing that. And that's
Yeah, I'll probably walk most of it anyway. So
oh
because
yeah,
it's going through the parks anyway, right? Like I'm not gonna run through the parks. I'm gonna walk and just look at everybody in their costumes and stuff and just
Saunter.
vibe out. Yeah.
But your mom and dad run the whole thing, right? Like they're
Yeah, yeah, they've done marathons. They like that's like their thing. Like they'll go on dates to like Banff to do a marathon or something.
yeah, weirdos.
Uh, yeah,
But the only
the
thing,
elite,
pardon me.
the elite.
Well, I'll share with you. I'll say the one thing that's cool about it, I watch and follow along their lives and they do those things is your mom has got the mastery to be able to do something totally like that, but at the same time fit in very cool stuff in those trips at the same time.
Yeah, my mom loves planning, like project planning and planning events and like
Oh,
all that stuff. She loves it. Like
I hear you.
she'll like laminate, like she like prints off a schedule, like creates a schedule, pretties it up like all fancy, prints it out, laminates it.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like
Like
she
I,
loves it.
yeah,
Yeah,
Canva baby, Canva, Canva, Canva.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so and they just went, I think too, right? They went to Disney a couple of weeks, like last week.
Yeah, like not even long ago.
Was that your dad for your dad's birthday, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it was super random.
yeah.
They told me like the
Well,
week before. They're like, "Yeah, we're going to Disney."
well,
What
no,
the hell? I was like, "What?"
I have no judgments because I'm getting ready to go on a cruise in February, and actually we're going back to Universal Studios as well.
Oh, what?
Uh, I
Nice.
thought I thought we were gonna have a special guest here. I said come in 10 minutes, but that was 20 minutes ago. He's currently playing PlayStation. And
Nice.
so my nephew, but he was gonna I thought he was gonna come and say hello.
Feel that.
But he is but we're going down to our so we're going to go to Universal Studios. He's 12, and so it's gonna be
Oh,
awesome.
he's going with you guys?
Yeah, so
That's sick.
doing the same tour we did. Hey, do you remember the guy's name, the tour guide's name?
Oh, no, I don't. I remember what he looks like.
Yeah, so do I. I felt like I couldn't say I want the gay guy.
Yeah. Can I get the old gay
The
guy?
old gay
He's
guy
super nice, super pleasant.
who lives on site.
Yeah, he lives right over there.
He lives right over there in those condos.
Yeah,
JJ will remember. He will certainly remember. JJ
he's got a
remembers
good one.
stuff. But
Maybe you can look on there. Do you have the receipts? Maybe like in
I
the email, it might tell you the name of
yeah,
our guide. But
yeah.
that was like, yeah, it's funny because what we you were telling me, oh, you're never gonna want to go back to Universal and Disney the same. And
And
I
when
like laughed and stuff, and I was like, no, like straight up after that, I was like, I only want to do VIP.
well,
I'm like,
even that night at the freaking line at the I was like, I'm out. We were doing we
oh
had,
yeah, the horror night when we
I'm
went,
like,
that was
so,
crazy. How long did
I,
you wait in that line for the first that one house?
oh, it was an
It was
hour and a
like
half at least.
easily. It was
Easy, if not
crazy.
longer. Like, and
It
I
must have been longer too. I
and I
swear, it was
actually felt
massive.
really crappy because I really wanted to hang out with you guys, right? But I'm like, I am not doing that again. Like, I am not like
Yeah,
that's not how I'm made anymore. Like,
it was late too. Like
yeah. So
I felt bad too. I felt the same way though. I ended up leaving after that too.
yeah, but
I
it
was
was like,
dead.
no way, Jose. Linda says I can't run across the street, but I can run late. And
Yeah,
our
I
good
run late
friend
every day.
Kathleen, Alachua Mama, Happy New Year's, Kathleen, and to Linda as well. Happy New Year's to you both. Happy. Kathleen says, Happy almost nifty 50, Mom. And your pop says, Mom and Brady are doing the 10K the day before. We're all registered for the half marathon.
There we go. Even
That's
better.
still a half more than I physically am able to do. Unless you can walk it. If you could walk it, I could walk a marathon.
You can walk it. You just can't walk it too slow because then they'll
Yeah.
pick you up on a little golf cart and
Oh, really?
yeah, like keep
I
the
have no
crowd
shame.
going.
Golf cart me away. And I think she's suggesting, Linda's suggesting you'll be the Disney princess. I think she's talking to you. I think I could be mistaken, but
Oh, nice. I
yeah.
don't know if I can run in heels though. That's the thing. Break my ankle.
Yeah. So that all said, there is look at this. So it's 7:17. So we really should have made more time for catch up. So I'm going to invite our guests in a few minutes, but we're going to I think we'll
Okay,
keep
so
chatting and catching up before we jump into talking to them about them.
yeah.
Because uh I wanted to share with you because you and I are working on a project together, which is super awesome, and your team, not just us, obviously, and our team here. But there is a
Super excited about that.
right? And we're working on this project here. Let me go back to where did it go?
Yeah,
Where
that's a super cool project. And you and the team like brought that to me a while ago. Like I remember you talking about it kind of like um not like when we were like gonna get anything in motion, but just like kind of like I kind of had this idea, blah blah blah. Like it was
well,
just
I just don't think it's been done before, and so that's what's so
mm,
exciting that Illinois is supporting this. Is that it's about creating these spaces, right, for youth voices, but from all Indigenous youth in Atlantic Canada, and I just think it is. Sorry, I'm just bringing this to the link here.
always.
Share it with folks because it's so awesome. Here we go. Click here to learn more. Okay. So you're right. We started talking about it last January, and here we are. And
Yeah,
let's see, share
everything works out the
screen.
way it's supposed to.
Yeah, we're gonna share the screen. First, let's welcome our guests in, and then we'll share that with them as well.
Yes.
I see that they're waiting, and I said come in around 7:20. So our guests tonight are Sheldon Travis and Maureen Buchanan. I think you might know them both already.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
and Sheldon and Maureen make up the volunteer board of the All Our Relations Land Trust.
Now,
And
just to be clear, this in relation to the Kingston Land Trust? Like if you look on Google.
the Kingston Land Trust, I don't know, to be honest. I don't think so, but we'll ask them shortly. There's Mr.
I'm
Travis,
just looking.
and
Never mind. This is
and
New
there
York.
is grandmother Maureen. Bonjour. Say go. Hello, my friends.
Hello, hello. Sheldon and Maureen. I haven't seen you guys in so long.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
So
Same.
we decided we're gonna let you in. We're not done catching up yet. We haven't had a show in months, so but we'll invite you into this part of the conversation though. So we were just saying that Brendan and I and our respective teams are working together on this project called We're Listening, and so we just wanted to give a little update here. So this is you can see this, yeah, and so this is the project. It's Indigenous Youth Voices Matter in Atlantic Canada. And this is our message to young people. This idea that because we talk to kids all the time, right? And you hear people, adults, say to kids, "Oh, you're the leaders of tomorrow. You're our future leaders," and it's annoyed the shit out of me for years because it really, they're leaders today, and they might not look the same or be able to have the same decision-making place that quote unquote leaders have today. But suggesting that they're tomorrow's leaders, I think, negates the strength and power that young people carry in this world. And when we see things like what are the Friday marches called? I don't remember what they're called now because they're not geared to me either, though. The movement of young people around the world around the climate crisis, and they're doing those marches on Fridays to keep raising awareness, to make sure that adults know that young people are calling for change. When you think about Autumn Peltier, the water ambassador, right? When you think about folks like um, what is her name? Brennan, who sang Blackbird, the Beatles song in Mi'kmaq.
Emma.
Emma Stevens.
Emma Stevens, yeah.
Emmett Stevens, like around language revitalization, and like you think of Takea Blaney out in the West Coast and protecting the forest and the water. You think about who's our pal there, actually Takea's partner from the ship from BC, Brennan.
Denzel?
Denzel, yeah. So
Oh, what? That's cool.
yeah, Denzel and Takea, unless and now
That's
again,
awesome.
I'm not like up on like all the gossip and
Yeah.
dating, but I believe they're still together. They've been for a number of years. But like
Denzel's been on the front line since we were like before the ship. He
exactly,
was
like on
young.
the front lines at the pipeline, like all of these young folks, right, who are leaders today. There's no. So, anyways, I say all
Fridays for future.
Fridays for
Fridays for
future.
future.
There you go. So that's
Mhm.
really the message, is that to young people in Atlantic Canada, Indigenous young people in Canada, that in Atlantic Canada, is that they're leaders today. And so we're doing these different activities to listen up and hear from them. And we're already there's three different activities: an online survey, a gathering in Ottawa, and then bringing back what we heard to youth throughout Atlantic Canada later in the spring. And we've already hit our half of our goal with the online survey, and we still have almost just over a month to go. And so we're really stoked about that. We've already hit half our target, and we have at this point, maybe I can't remember though, to be honest, but I'll say 10 applications for the gathering so far. But we haven't pushed the gathering too aggressively, but we've pushed the survey, and so I'm just thrilled that we get to work together on this, and thrilled that we're going to share space in Ottawa with these young people who are going to create these calls to action that can come back and help shape the foundation, the Uilneweg Communities Foundation, Indigenous Communities Foundation, and Uilneweg as a whole, as well as all the other bodies in Atlantic Canada. And so that's super awesome. So I've thoroughly enjoyed working together with your team on this. And so I'm super stoked. But we also, though, had at three things, we did a really like, we did a thing. And and I don't know when it was, maybe 20 years ago. It could have been longer. And I actually don't even remember the res I was on, but it was New Year's Eve, and I was with friends, and it was kind of messy. And I'd say 20 years, probably 25 years ago, it was messy. Everything was messy, right? And I just remember that there were like kids playing in the house, and I thought back just to how many families and communities, and not just First Nations, but across the board, where on things like the holidays are just such a challenge, right? Christmas, and you see all the Christmas cards and the wreaths and the this and the meals, but for a lot of folks, it's a struggle, it's overwhelming, it's challenging. And New Year's often becomes the explosion of whatever a family's been able to fake it till you make it during the holidays. And then New Year's has got this permission almost to go overboard and indulge, and often as young people who are witness to that, right? And so I've long thought we should be doing something on New Year's that gives young people an alternative. And this year we worked with our longtime friends in the Blood Tribe, in the Kainai Blood Tribe, and in southern Alberta, and they sent out a team of young people and a team of adult allies and a team of youth mentors, and we soared into 2024 with them, and it was amazing. It was everything that I had envisioned occurred, and I'm so grateful that they were open to taking part like they did. We, like all our events, we it was anchored in ceremony, it was anchored in community building, anchored in quality content, and anchored in fun. And and here's just sort of a snapshot. This is just like a snapshot, and more stuff is going to be released over time. But the young people throughout the weekend identified their own individual needs and wants, as well as their hopes and aspirations for themselves and their nation. And there's our lovely grandma Kate right there. And oh, somehow Dene got on there twice, but I literally did this 2 minutes before the. But I want you to just to check out the center there, the center picture at the bottom. On New Year's Eve, we went to the Senators game, the hockey game. And right there on the stage, right there in the big screen, welcome to the Kainai Nation Blood Tribe Youth.
That's
And
so cool.
it was super cool. And we had a special New Year's Eve event. So after we got back, members of the team, Zoe and Kate and Wata, they designed the most stunning New Year's Eve space of all time. So all the young people walked in and adults walked in, and it was beautiful and gorgeous. And we set up a link for Zoom so families could call in. So at 11:45, and it was so cool. There were like 20 families, and the Zoom screen on the wall, like it was all these 20 boxes and people there. And oh, it was fantastic. It was absolutely delightful. And we had a beautiful honoring ceremony, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was the vision I had had years ago, and it came to life beautifully. And it was a different event because we did fun stuff every day, like off-site, like stuff, which we don't normally do because we really. I've long believed if communities are going to invest these kind of resources, we're there to work, right? And they did work without a doubt, but this one was a little bit different. And so yeah, but it was absolutely fantastic and a perfect way to celebrate the new year. And we had the privilege to also honor our good friend Andrew, who celebrated 5 years sobriety on January 1st. And he too got wrapped in that blanket and reminded how much he was loved and cared for, and
Hero.
hero, total hero. And to be 25 and hit your 5 years, right? And
That's beautiful.
and yeah, and I should pay due respect. He's now Professor Andrew, because now he's teaching at the college. So yeah,
Oh, he's teaching now?
he
At
is.
that gig? That's sick.
So he had his first class.
That's so deadly.
So shout out to Andrew. Shout out to the other facilitators on the team with him, the amazing, ever amazing Simonik and Natasha, and Ayana, who's getting ready to head to Barbados in a couple weeks, where she's going to complete her degree and do her last
So cool.
class. And as you may recall, so she is Ojibwe and Bajan, and so she's going to Barbados for the first time, where her father was born and raised, and
That's crazy.
so that's super amazing. And so she'll be there, and Simonic is always on point and just stellar, and Natasha, as always, brilliant. Shout out to Zoe, who again is the kind of leader that makes these spaces super easy. I was whipped. I literally worked more than 80 hours in that little period of time. And
You guys are doing a lot.
and we did so much. It was like crack of dawn to crack of night. And I saw you were doing a walk challenge, Brennan, like this. Was that on your Facebook? Like the steps challenge or something?
No.
Oh, I thought that was yours that I saw.
I probably shared something, but
Oh, maybe you shared it. Yeah.
I share a lot of stuff I don't really remember.
But I walked, no joke. I added it up earlier. It was 83 kilometers nonetheless.
What? That's crazy.
Like over 5 days. Like
That's insane.
my body is still hating me, like even today. But yeah, so but yeah, so Zoe, though, the beauty is that the great thing about working with Zoe is that because we worked together for so long, I needed to go and take like 20 minutes just to like recalibrate my brain and have literally a 20-minute nap. And by the time I got downstairs, she'd pulled the circle together, kept moving it forward, right? The program. And she did a fantastic job doing these interviews with every young person, like just awesome as always. And then we also had Wata, who came for the first time to an event of ours and was an incredible asset as he's been so far. And so in relationship to Maureen and Sheldon, with All Our Relations Land Trust, I did offer Wata a job for this summer coming up. And I've committed that at least he could work 2 days a week with the Land Trust during the summer that will support him to work 2 days a week on the land with whatever it is that you're needing from him. And he's an incredible helper. And we'll see where else we do this summer. And then as well, we had Sean too, who coordinated all the logistics and managed managed the transportation with a company that no one speaks English in their main office because it's out of Quebec.
Bro.
And did so with everyone there on time, and it was just seamless, really, to be truthful, and it was awesome. And so it was fantastic to be able to have that team. I don't think I forgot anyone. And if I did, Grandma Kate, of course, crepes. Grandma Kate, who was, as always, was just like the heart of that space, right? And a shout out to our friends in Alberta. It was so wonderful to be able to have them there and to be surrounded by folks who are really connected to their culture, young people, their culture and their language and the land and ceremony and protocol, and in a real serious, meaningful way. And to see it thrive, right? Because we don't see those stories, I don't think, often. So yeah, it was so there was my little appeal about New Year's, because I'm still on a little sort of high around it, and I'm going to use that juice to keep pushing forward this year. So yeah.
Like, yeah, that's awesome. I loved watching it. I saw a lot of it on Snapchat, and literally every time, like every Snapchat I got from like Simon, like Andrew, or Rihanna, like the kids in the background were always smiling or laughing or something. Like literally, like the whole time, every day, like the whole time. And
Those young folks were
yeah,
warriors. They could laugh, they could have fun, but they worked hard, and there was
I love
no
that.
complaints. They just powered through, right? They didn't arrive into Ottawa. Their flights were delayed, and there were crummy flights. They got in at like 1. We didn't get back to the hotel till after 2 something in the morning. Like that's when they arrived, and 10 in the morning the next day we were starting programming. Like, so they
We
were.
have more pictures of Wata smiling in 5 days than I have in the last 3 months. So
Oh, he was
I
smiling
love that.
the whole time, yeah, like just smiling the whole time. He was Wata was phenomenal, as he always is. He just, what I love about Wata, and I say this, and all of the team, doesn't matter who they are, everyone could learn from Wata. And this is the beauty of having young folks, because Wata repeatedly will say to you, "What can I do for you?" He will literally check in if he needs something. And if he isn't clear on something, he'll ask and check. Like all the traits of just solid, right? He just does the things that in your dream world, everyone you work with, yourself included, would do, right? So yeah, it is. He was awesome. So yeah. And but that said, I did return home, and my body hated me. And so I took this week off, and I am oh, the I think, let's see for a second here. Okay, I think if Chris, you might need to send it again. I think I don't think it came through. But we are today here. So it was, sorry, I just got lost here. I lost you all. There you are. So today we after my week of, or not a week, but 3 days of respite, we welcomed into the office today our friends from the All Our Relations Land Trust. And Brennan, you'll remember it as Walking the Path of Peace Together. And Brennan was involved early on and helped early on as well, like the rest of our team. So pretty much everyone who's worked with us at some point has contributed. He was on the Brendan was on the land council in the original sort of group on the land council. And so everyone really on our team has contributed in different ways. So from that, an organization was born last year, the All Our Relations Land Trust, here in Kingston, and with the intention of being able to care for a piece of land that Walking the Path of Peace Together has been sort of caring for the last number of years. And the cool thing of this story is that Maureen originally sat on that land council as well, and that's where you two would have met originally, and if I remember correctly. And I think if I remember correctly, Maureen, and the reason I've said to Maureen, I always wanted to be her friend. I wanted her to like me so badly. And her and Iman, I want them to be my friends. And when you ended up joining the land council, I was like, OMG, we're gonna be besties. And then you left the land council, and I had so much appreciation for that leaving, and it wasn't leaving. Like when you didn't storm out, I want to be very clear. You didn't like kick down the door and I'm going home and taking my toys. It just wasn't the right thing for you at the right time. And I had so much respect for you because I was like, holy moly, you can do that. If something isn't like your juice at that moment, you can just say, no, I'm good right now. Thank you though. And lo and behold, and this is going to be like a 30-second love in for grandmother Maureen, is that here in Kingston, so you just want to close take off your headphones if you don't want to blush. But here in Kingston, we have an incredibly strong language movement, and have had a strong language movement. And there is lots of characters and actors who have contributed to this tremendously, both from these local territories and those of us from others who now reside here, to others who have come to help from other spaces to build up this originally the language nest, the Indigenous languages nest. And that movement, because it really is a movement. It's a movement in a community of space. And Maureen has been an anchor of that for a long time with others. She'll say it, so I'll just say it for her, with others. But when people talk about language revitalization and language learning and look for someone with knowledge in that area here in this community, they look to Maureen. And that's because Maureen practices what she preaches, which lots of us, myself included, don't. And I don't say that shamefully, it just is what it is. And I like it when Maureen says, I think if I'm not mistaken, when she says the sentence like, I was 55 and started this journey, and I'm like, oh good, look at that, I've got 7 years left. So but the reality is that Maureen's dedication and commitment and passion and spirit driven movement around language learning for herself and sharing that opportunity with others has changed our community tremendously and strengthened it tremendously. And with that, on the land, brought language to the land on Highway 15, which was the exact medicine that land was needing. And there were lots of good things happening on the land. But when Maureen brought the language to the land and to everything about that space, it shifted it completely. And I don't know how it occurred, but one day Maureen was sort of like it or not, acknowledge it or not, but the leading sort of person from the Indigenous community who was driving that garden forward, and that Indigenous food sovereignty garden, and birthed what it is today. And it was fantastic to watch, and I just have a tremendous amount of gratitude to you, Maureen, for all those contributions. Maureen, you recently had like a new bionic knee put in, and it's possible that a link of that was 2 years of bending down in the soil and digging, and that's commitment. But so either way, then as the conversation with the United Church of Canada, which has held that land, had continued, Maureen and others created the All Our Relations Land Trust, and recruited a volunteer board of directors who are filled with each individual with beautiful skills and strengths, and the openness and awareness that they had lots to learn individually and collectively. And it has been a delight to watch you all on your own journeys. And it's been a delight to watch what has been created on the land, the healing that has occurred, the both of the land, of our other relations, of individuals, of relationships, of identity, just everything. And that is why it's so easy for us at Three Things to continue to support the land trust, because what you're all doing and contributing to matters so significantly. And why we're thrilled to start 2026, Brendan and I, to have you here to talk about the land trust and help inform folks, and talk about how everyone across the country can be supporting it tonight in a really easy and doable way. So I've talked enough. I will talk more, I promise. But let's start, if we can, with our good friend Caitlin. And Caitlin can share a few words on video, a little more about the land trust. Does that sound all right? And Caitlin is the president of the board of directors. And we will let's just take a listen here, and about as well this exciting opportunity that exists for the land trust. So here we go. Now, there we go. We're going to click this button, and we're going to click this button. We're going to click that button, and there we are.
So our project is installing a solar energy system at the Indigenous Food Sovereignty Garden on Highway 15. Bojo, Kitla Dijnakaz, Mung Nadodam, Matawinandojaba, Elganandayan. My name is Dr. Caitlin Patterson. I'm a mixed ancestry Algonquin from Mattawa, and I am a founding board member of All Our Relations Land Trust and the current chair. So our project is called the Akia Gitchitwendagot Awan project. Land is sacred. It involves installing a solar energy system at the Indigenous Food Sovereignty Garden on Highway 15, so where we are right now, which is currently stewarded by All Our Relations Land Trust. All Our Relations Land Trust is committed to restoring diverse ecosystems in the Greater Kingston area using Indigenous-led practices. Solar panels will provide power for an irrigation system, recharging stations for electric batteries, and outdoor lighting as well. The project also helps our sustainable, holistic, and Indigenous-led approaches to growing food and medicines for our community. The project also helps with community connection. So over 600 volunteers have come to take care of this place by planting trees, tending to the garden, learning language, and playing. The project will help that work continue. I think people should support our project because the climate crisis is real and we see the effects. To people who are considering donating to the fund, effective climate action is local action, and that by working together, we can make a difference. To people who are
So I just want to focus this piece of the land, and Maureen, maybe you can answer it for us. I had never noticed this on the land before, and I'm assuming that that is intentional. Not that I would notice, but that the and so what how did that come to be? Just out of curiosity. It is, when I saw it, I was like, my mind was blown.
Yeah, it came to be through Helena Nephew and Kelly Miracle. They worked together to create a medicine wheel pollinator garden. So that happened 2 years back. I think maybe even, was it 3 years back? And created this medicine wheel with the four quarters being like these beds, and planted a bunch of native species plants that are commonly and uncommonly found now. There was a number of people who were helping to plant. I remember the day it occurred. I got there about mid-afternoon, and it already was well almost completed, and there was all these people planting these native species plants. And once they were there, I mean, they did really well. And it's basically taken care of itself, really. The most that we do is mulch the path, really, around the circle and the crossroads in the center of that to make the 4 quadrants. Yeah,
It's
so it's full of medicines.
I walked in it and never ever did I ever notice that ever
Yeah.
before.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, when you go in, you're walking, well, next summer when you're there, like you'll see where the bees really love certain plants. I think they even really love certain plants at certain times of year, even at certain times of day. It's pretty amazing to watch it. And the birds really love love being in there too.
Must be
Yeah.
so
And
nice
the
just to go
kids.
out there.
Oh, it is. And the kids, when the kids are there, like they run through that, right? They it's like kind of a runway for the kids when they're playing, or when they're like looking at things with magnifying glasses, or their parents are walking with them and discovering various plants. Or sometimes we'll like we just put in what was it? Oh, I think we had some I think they were gooseberries donated, I believe. 12 or 20 plants. Some of them made it into that part of the garden, just to sort of diversify further the who's there, who's growing.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Some of the comments, just to be clear, is Paul shares, and hey, Paul, Happy New Year. Caitlin did an amazing job speaking. Carol says so true. Now, I don't know if Carol's comment is in regards to Caitlin did an amazing job speaking, or Paul also said Maureen is such a gift to this community and with such a beautiful heart. And for some reason, now, Brandon, I don't know if you can see more comments. It's coming up. It's very bizarre tonight. The technology is very bizarre tonight. But it says NAN comments on mine. Like I don't know. Can you see the comments?
I see Ani. Buzu, Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
see that. But I'm not seeing any more though. I'm like it's disappearing on my screen. So they're there. So
Oh,
I can't see
I don't know
them.
how to fix that. That's happened to me before though. When we streamed, I couldn't figure it out.
Well, so I know Joey Q has commented and Pat's commented and
You might have to just reload it and then like click
oh,
back on the screen on the stream and then open back up. That's usually what I do.
this is why
I
we
just
do
want to
this.
make a comment about something you were saying, Peter, about you started off talking about language, right? And about how when language came out of the land, it was exactly what the land needed. I also noticed it was exactly what the language needed too, right? Is to have that relationship. I think it was really, really revealing is when you start to think about how the language is structured, how it's used, and then how it can be manifested on the land when you're offering sema or things like this. That was one thing. The other thing I was thinking about was that both with starting like to do indigenous leadership on the land around growing food and medicines and planting trees, thinking about the land over time, thinking about into the future, this idea of 7 generations and what does that really mean? All of these things. That work happens at the grassroots. And I think it's at the grassroots, that's where love lives. That's where life is. And that's where incredible critical thinking can be. And so I think those are the things that hold it in common with both language, what's happening in the community around language, what's happening in the community around land. And this is not the only place where land-based work is happening in Kingston. It's actually really, I think it's really fascinating how community members are caring for land and water and shorelines in Kingston. It's very cool.
So cool. Did what kind of what kind of effect did the development of this land have on like the language nest in Kingston?
Well, that's a
The
great
language
question.
classes.
Yeah, so what happened with language, I think, is that, well, for me, it was, I'll just I'll share a small personal experience. When I first got to the land, I was all about, okay, 'cause I came there with a language revitalization lens, right? That's what was going to happen. We were going to put labeling and put language out there. It was going to be, oh, language Anishinaabe. I was thinking Anishinaabe Mo and a space for Anishinaabe Mo. And I was thinking, that's what I was all about. And then I walked on the land. And as I was walking, it was in the springtime. And the first language, and I was by myself, the first language I heard was not English, it wasn't French, it wasn't Anishinaabe. It was the language of the spring peeper. And it was because of that. It was because of hearing that. This idea that in Ojibwe, in Anishinaabe, we have all of our relations, and there's a word that's references the sounds you make, and it's references dialects in the language, but also references the sound that animals and other creatures make. So it was that word that led me to this kind of like, oh my God, like the peeper sound is important, and Anishinaabe as a language is not more important than the language of the peeper. It really kind of decenters the human experience in a way, the way we can think of only like the human concerns and start to understand that we actually like the language comes out of an ecosystem, a set of relations. And so then to understand that set of relations, the language is a good pathway into that again. So like, there's not a speaking community here in Kingston. So language use there is really about, it's a bit about, some using some verbs and nouns to interact with the land. The kids are really fascinated, for example, with potato bugs, right? So we talk about panig manadushsak, like the idea of potato bugs, and we use that language, and we say, oh, no, mak, panig manadushsak, right? And then, the kids will imitate that and talk about that. Then we create these little coloring sheets that have all those interesting bugs, and then the language is written. And then there's the opportunity for the parents who are readers to be able to, carry that language forward. Ways in which that still happens today is there's a program, Quad's Jerry, that brings children and families out to the land, actually, where there's like language-based activities that are occurring right from the spring right through to, mid-October. So that's what's happening now. And of course, the language they're using in ceremony. Every time people go out and do work, there's the offering of sema, right? It doesn't always involve language, but it can involve language as well. It's very important that we use it, for those of us who can, like to use the language to understand who the medicines are, right? So we refer to a sema. I don't use an English translation for that. Same thing with Manaduzwosh, Maskodewosh and Wingush and Gijak. For those medicines, we use what we call them in Anishinaabe Moan. And the same would be true for anyone who's either a learner of Ganyageha, like they would have their own words for that.
You talked about the offering of the sema, and in fact, we had one of the elders who resisted the term on last week from the Blood Tribe. Now I want to call him Elvis because I'd made a joke. His name is not Elvis, but I started calling him Elvis. Marcel Weaselhead, and who's a language speaker and first language speaker, like many folks who were at that event over New Year's, young people and older. And I'd shared with him about what I think one of the most significant things that I've seen on the land, because it's well over 600 folks who have made that offering of sema to that land, correct?
Yeah.
So when people come to the land for that first time, they're offered that medicine to make their commitment to that relationship between themselves and the land. And however that came to be, what a wonderful and powerful link and connection. Just wonderful. Lana says the land is so beautiful and asks Maureen, will there be any beehives added to the land?
Oh, I think that's an amazing idea. Currently, there is some bee habitat. We have some habitat that's for something, a little being called blue mason bees. So they like to use mud. So there's these little houses. There's two little houses there that have reeds, and the little these little bees make little mud houses in these reeds, right? So there's two bee habitats there now, or two bee like kinds of I guess you could call homes, but there's all kinds of habitat, for the bees. So and there's a variety of different bees, right? So in terms of like honeybee hives, we don't have a plan for that as of yet, but I'm telling you, this crew that I'm part of, they're like good lateral thinking and like asking why the heck not, right? Like, yeah, there's I think lots of potentials. The way this has really emerged in work though is that usually someone finds a place or they play to their strengths, and that's how I've seen it anyway. And so various things will happen as a result of someone coming and playing to their strengths and be able to create an opportunity because they have some knowledge. They also are, in a community relating to the land in this very all our relations centered way. So maybe there might be honeybees in the future, but no plan is yet.
Awesome. And you talk about those strengths and sitting next to you, at least on my screen, and which I think means everyone else's screen watching at home, is not just here for his handsomeness, is Sheldon Travis. And Sheldon has been a long time very active community member in the urban Indigenous space. And as a young person yourself, right, you were very active in the Friendship Center movement, and been gifted teachings and responsibilities at a young age. And with the land and with the land trust, it has brought you back to this space in a really significant way. And when I think of your strengths, for those who don't know Sheldon, if so the number of times he will say a sentence that in theory someone should start with OMG, you wouldn't believe what I'm doing. And then he would tell you, but he just says, oh, I'm pickling 73 pounds of cabbage to make kimchi today. Or I'm building a rotisserie reverse smoker out of a couple of tins I found when Queen students are moving out. Or insert a long litany of things that Sheldon has taken on in his life where you're just like, holy Moses. And one of the gifts you have is certainly as a chef, as a cook, as a chef, as a curator of really unique and good foods. And this year you started doing some really cool stuff on the land. What has that been?
Oh, geez. I think the only thing I was doing super actively is I got into composting. And when I say composting, I mean active hot composting, which needs constant care and turning and work. For me, it seemed like a weird spot to latch onto at first, but I kept looking at it every day until I realized that I was actually creating earth. And for me personally, that created balance in my harvesting of earth in my artistic practice where I make pottery. So the two things just kind of fed into each other, and it just became a place. It just became something I did twice a week because our volunteer days when the garden is active is Mondays and Thursdays. And when you're doing active hot compost like that, it's supposed to be turned every 2 to 3 days. So it works out very, very well, and I was actually just speaking about this today. We had our volunteer appreciation at your house this afternoon, Peter. And when we were talking about our connection from this week, I was talking about having found a bit of a place because it's difficult when somebody first comes into a space, when you first start going and people have their established roles and their established work that they do and things like that. It can be very difficult for somebody to find a place for themselves to show their strength and to lean into their talents. And you know my views on leadership and leadership versus command, and that nothing I ever do is ever the Sheldon show, and I don't ever try and make it the Sheldon show. So holding myself back a little bit, it was very difficult to try and find something where I could contribute. But of course, just coming And being there, eventually I slipped into a spot, and it's been wonderful. So,
I think that's one of those beautiful strengths of that land, right? Is that
yeah.
and I think many communities can use space or need space where folks can go and find their role and their space. And the beauty is that the longer and the more comfortable people become in their space, it allows them to open it up to others to be their space as well, right? Where it gets to be shared and such. Paul just shares one of Sheldon's best gifts is he just does so much behind the scenes where it's needed. And Linda says, I absolutely love this. We need more land. And as Sheldon says, hot composting to be self-sustainable and learn. And I have so many good one-liners in my head right now. But you also, so that's that connection to earth, but you were also doing something that I thought was really cool. And I'd like to point out, never once benefited from, I just want to be clear, that I never benefited from the fact that you then brought like preparing fry bread right on the land and making jam and right on the land. And because that is also certainly one of your strengths, right? Is that creative space cooking. And so what was that like to be able to bring that gift to the land in that way?
Well, I'm going to share you a little cooking secret with you on your show tonight. All right. And that's
Brendan, are you listening? Are you listening, Brendan? Just checking.
I'm sure you're all familiar with wajape or berry soup.
No.
No. Okay. Look up berry soup or wajape. In this case, that's I believe that's the Cherokee name for it. But all of our nations had a berry soup. And basically it's just a cooked down pectinless jam. So it's got a sweetener and the berries. You cook it down till it starts to thicken. That is exactly how you make a simple jam as well, because you cook it down at a lower temperature so you're not destroying the aromatics. So at a simmer, put it in a jar. So all I needed was a heat source and a couple of pots, because when you're cooking down the jam, you can also be heating up the water to water bath with. So although it looked like black magic, to me, it was just a very, very simple series of steps. Uh, but it was incredibly fun to do. I had a construction propane burner thing that you use for heating up roofing material or something like that. A grate that I had scavenged from a driveway barbecue, and then just a couple of pots sitting on that. And we had some jars, and we were managed to gather the berries, cook them into jam, and can them all in the same 2-hour session. And it was just a lot of fun. And then a couple weeks later, we made fry bread and ate said jam on it, which was kind of everybody's high point. So,
well, that is absolutely fantastic. And so, Brendan, I expect the next time I visit Millbrook, you're going to cook me some jam.
Hey, try. No promises it'll be good.
Apparently, you just need a propane torch. Who knew?
well, we
Easy.
actually wrote down the recipe because there's been some talk of doing a cookbook at some point. So I'll
That would
send
be
it to you,
cool.
Brendan. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that would be a fantastic fundraiser that you could do after this current one, which is super cool.
Yes.
So here in the city of Kingston, and I want to be very, very clear. I've been working in this area for a long time, and I've been writing about and working around the relationship pieces between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people and spaces and places and systems for a very long time. And in context, our work we did with the Girl Guides in 2021, when they identified, acknowledged, and accepted responsibility for their role in participating and providing program in residential schools, that began a decade earlier. It began before the TRCs began their hearings, and our first report to them a decade earlier had been about making amends and ownership and responsibility and walking forward. And so I've worked and watched as shifts have occurred in spaces and places. And there are places and spaces where shifts are very slow. But there's also these times where things spark, and I've watched things explode. And so in 2017, we had the very great privilege, Shannon Monk and myself, to be able to begin this process of building a relationship with the city. And my good friend had worked with us, and I met her sister who had moved back to Canada, and her name was Dr. Terry Brennan.
That's funny.
So we had lunch, and through a series of things, she ends up working at the city with my good friend who was working at the city of Kingston at the time. And we began these conversations, and Engage for Change was born. And it was this beautiful opportunity to have these talking circles over the course of a year in different community spaces and places. And the city at this point had already been demonstrating a real serious commitment to shifts and changes. And one of the folks that we can really acknowledge for that is, in fact, our friend Paul, who's watching, and Paul Carl, who had done some significant relationship building with the city of Kingston and had established long before it was either, and I don't know if trendy is the right word, but whether, like, long before others saw the responsibility that they would have in those municipal spaces, the city of Kingston would start each year's session of council off with a ceremony. And they held sacred, they had been gifted sacred objects, a hulik, a smudge bowl, a feather. And Paul, and I had the privilege to be able to join Paul on a couple of those times. And it blew my mind, like, that they were doing this long before the TRC again, right? And so I just wanted to share quickly. Paul just said, what a great start to a new year. Tonight's session is awesome. I would agree. It's a big bag of awesome. Linda says, yes, I would buy wares and even a cookbook. Tracy Roddy says, whoop, whoop, I want the cookbook. So just so you know. But anyways, the city of Kingston, I think, has been ahead of the game for a while. And it doesn't mean that they get everything right. Doesn't mean they don't get everything perfect. There have been more than one times where I wanted to bash my face into a brick wall, because it's still a system, right? It still is a system. And here's a fun fact. It doesn't matter if the system's non-Indigenous or Indigenous, systems are systems. And there are difficulties and challenges. But that said, the city of Kingston has demonstrated, I think, just my opinion, doesn't mean it's fact, over and over, though, a real genuine commitment to Indigenous people, the local urban Indigenous community, and walking the very best way they can together. And again, doesn't mean that there's not missteps. And probably at times, not probably, at times on both sides, because relationships are always, there's always two parts of a relationship. So the city of Kingston, though, each year, for the last number of years, has been able to create something called the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund. And this fund is a series of is a campaign they run each end of year into the new year, to raise money for something that's going to do something meaningful and real to address the climate crisis. And if I'm not mistaken, this past year, All Our Relations Land Trust submitted an application, along with others, to be the recipient of 2024's funds, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And as we heard in the video from Caitlin, who was so excellent in that video, like, I would like to point out, if I forgot to tell her today, I would have thought I forgot to tell her, oh, I told you so. I wanted to tell her, I was like, oh, remember when we were talking, I was telling you how great you're going to be? Told you so. Anyways, if you see her, please pass it on. And make like a face, like a 7-year-old would when saying that. But this fund is currently now raising resources to support the All Our Relations Land Trust Indigenous Food Sovereignty Garden, and specifically a project like was discussed in the video, a solar powered irrigation system that's going to draw from either the stored rainwater and or from an existing in-ground 100-foot well. And what's really cool is that that well, that was, and the reason, again, the attachment that I have to this. So JJ was very active. JJ, Charlotte, and Carol had really driven that well process, right? Like they had worked to get that to happen. And to see that happen at the time, I was stoked. And then as well to watch Sean's efforts over the last several years around that stored rainwater and that system and testing out systems, right? Because again, the land is all about testing stuff, right? It's about testing to see what will work. And this is your next adventure, is to be able to have some sort of system. And again, not a scientist or a builder of any sort. I don't know if those are things are linked, but when I look at the language, it all looks like this same sort of world. But the idea is to be able to have some solar power stuff, right? That's going to allow for lighting, allow for, and if I'm not mistaken, at the core of it, to get off, maybe use the gas,
Fossil fuels.
fossil fuels. There you go.
Yeah.
Tell us a
Yeah,
little
I think
about it.
I just want to point out about this. The one thing about this project I think is really important is I think that we're doing like early adoption. I think we'll be the first communal. Most community gardens have allotments that people will rent. This is a communal space. People grow food and medicines communally, and they're shared. This will be the first community garden in Kingston that will will not be using any oil or gas in land stewardship. That will be using rainwater capture to water a garden and to use solar power for energy. This would be a first. So it's an early adoption, I think, of a really wise practice, sustainable practice for food, like food systems within an urban setting. So I think that it's a very progressive project. It can make a big difference in terms of the overall health and well-being of the soil and of the garden for a long time to come. The other nice thing about this project, which I think is really awesome, is that it'll be grid ready. So when there's a capacity to share energy back into the system to help sustain the community with energy, that capacity will be there. So I think it's a really great and early innovation, early adoption of innovation in communal gardening in Kingston. Yeah, that's something that's going to be really good.
I can't wait to see where it is in like 5 years from now.
Yeah, me
Like how the
too.
land develops, how the people develop around it, like how the community develops. Just like
Yeah.
Are you gonna come see it in 5 years, Brennan?
oh, I want to come see it ASAP. I miss
You know, the
Kingston.
other thing about this is that this little spot. So I think that there's a biodiversity crisis. We've talked about climate crisis. There's a biodiversity crisis. They are like this. To talk about them separately, I mean, that's something that's how the the discussion has evolved. But in fact, they're very, very, very connected. So this space, by using sustainable energy, by using land stewardship practices that are rooted in Indigenous ways of thinking about all of our relations, about our primary relationship to our mother. This addresses, builds a capacity for change in understanding how urban spaces can hold biodiversity. So what I really hope that you'll see when you come in 5 years' time, Brennan, is you'll see a functioning garden that has rainwater capture, that can actually hold really heavy rains that are part of what's coming towards us, and that being able to hold that water in the soil will enable lots of plants and to grow, and for food to be there for a bunch of different insects, a bunch of different animals and beings in the soil, as well as in the sky. There's all of the birds that come, and then small animals. That's what should happen. And when we have that kind of biodiversity, there will be a benefit to the surrounding community, because that land will act as a cooling towards all of the development that may happen around it. Where there's the propensity for heat islands to form, with development. We're also working really, actively with others who are interested in creating change in how development happens, so that in fact there's space for biodiversity in that development. So we hope that this project and the existence of the garden itself will actually start to change the conversation about what development looks like. what does it look like to have development with a view to preserving and working with existing spaces of biodiversity that are in the east end of Kingston. So I think it's a really important project.
And it's
100%.
now is the time to be able to, for folks to be able to step up. Because I think there is some importance in recognizing that projects like this and opportunities for the All Our Relations Land Trust, they don't come every day. Because this campaign, this fund that exists, the reality is that the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund is funded by individuals, but supported in a number of different ways. And so one of those ways is that there is going to be some matching funds. So the Kingston Community Credit Union are going to match donations made up to $5,000. Is that correct?
Wow.
So up to $5,000, that is and those are donations that are made at the credit union, correct?
Yeah,
Or-
anytime between January and March 31st, that's our fundraising window.
Yeah, so to March
Exactly.
31st. And am I correct that the donations that are going to be matched by the credit union need to be made at the credit union?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So your first option, and people can donate that way in Kingston here in the community, make a donation at the Kingston Community Credit Union to the All Our Relations Land Trust, to the Climate Action Fund, and those are going to be matched. And so that means that if $5,000 is donated here locally, right, to the credit union, then another $5,000 is going to be provided. And so that's $1,000. So that's super exciting. But if I'm not mistaken as well, donations that are made at the City Payment Center or on Canada Helps. So this is where, for our friends who aren't in Kingston, this is where you can donate. And in fact, if you're in Kingston as well, you can donate here. And those funds are also matched, correct?
Correct. By the City of Kingston.
By the City of Kingston, up to $15,000. And this is where we now are looking for folks. So if you're going to share any part of this video, this is where we want you to share this message, is that there is the opportunity that everyone has across the country to be able to support the All Our Relations Land Trust by going, and we're going to put this link in the chat here. And it's the Kingston Community Action Fund. Right now they've raised on this page $1,867. The goal is $27,000. That will provide the full funding for this incredibly important work, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, and so when you think about what the matching dollars would do, I think the actual amount that we need to hit, I think is about 13, I think it's 13.5. And then the matching dollars will help us make up the rest, that will be an amazing achievement, capacity builder. Right.
Without a doubt. And so so this year, I had made a decision, although Brennan, your Christmas present is right around here. It never got mailed, but it's coming. I like sometimes wait for the summer. Brennan is Christmas. I think only once I've actually sent it before Christmas.
I'm like that with my gifts, man. I'll send them a year later.
I don't know, Peter, by what I see in his background, you should buy him a new shelf. He's gonna need more space soon.
He is going to need more.
Yeah, bigger shelf for sure.
I've been in that space and it is amazing, just so you know. Like,
It's not very big.
it's not big, but it's amazing. But here's the thing. So this in 2023, I made the decision that I wasn't going to buy adults presents, and instead made contributions and donations to charities that are important in my life. And so I've made a series of those donations, but I thought, because I wasn't sure how to do it and the best way to do it for the bang for buck. But the last donation will be on behalf of Brendan and I to Land Trust, and I think we'll make the donation. I think through the credit union to be able to make sure that hits that max there to start with. Does that make sense? And look forward to being able to do that. And so what we will do is we'll donate $2,000, and so that'll become $4,000 if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, we'll be almost at, yeah, that's right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that will be how we will do that. but we'll also continue between now and March. And maybe even in March itself, we'll have you back on the show if we're needing an extra push to hit the Canada Helps page. But you can go to Canada Helps right now at home, and it doesn't matter if it's $5, $10, $20, or $2,000. Make sure that you support this important work that's happening, this innovative work, this Indigenous-led work, and this real example. And here it is. This is the actual, I think, the greatest story of the land is that, you know, this started with Nan Hudson reaching out, and Nan Hudson was the minister at the time of Faith United Church. And I will not lie, driving there that day with Shannon to go meet her for coffee, I was like, what, I don't know what we're doing. Like, I don't know what this is, right? And I've watched this community come together of folks from not just Faith United Church, but other faiths as well, and other faith-based spaces, and Indigenous folks in not just here, but from around, right? And it's literally magic. It's healing is what it is. There has been such a tremendous amount of healing that has come out of these relationships. And healing for individuals, healing for spaces, healing for land. And if we're really serious about creating shifts in the future, we have to focus on healing, I think. And as individuals, first and foremost, if we don't actually focus on ourselves and look at what healing we need, here's a fun fact: our lives are real rough. Like, and it's not that that's unmanageable sometimes, but still just rough and needlessly rough. Healing matters. And that's what I've been bearer witness to. And then I watched community develop, right? And I was thinking today, I didn't take part in your meeting today because I had a much better opportunity. And that was presented to me. And who was supposed to be the guest on the show and surprise guest, but I believe that there might still be a PlayStation headset on his head. So I was like, come in 10 minutes. That was like an hour ago, hour and a half ago. But the reality though is that I was listening to someone speak today, and I was thinking about the reason I can tell the community is intense and strong and important and matters is I was listening to him talk about the disconnection from the land, like the way he was feeling emotionally. And I said, is it possible because the garden is closed now, like it's sleeping, and you're not doing that thing? And he was like, oh, yeah, oh goodness, maybe there is, yeah. Is that part of it is that community and that connection during the summer is so busy, and this person identified that oh goodness, when that was done for the season, right? So I think that and this is just my take, it's about figuring out how do you actually manage the grief that comes with the sleeping land, right? How to help us understand that sleeping land is an important part, right? And accept that it's important for us to sleep as well, and us to rest as well. Like, that's the teaching. And I don't know how to get there, not for myself or others, but when I was listening to him today, I was like, oh my God, look at that, eh?
Well, what you ended up missing, Peter, with your better offer was the questions and the discussion that we had was designed in such a way as to find out people's responses on their interactions over the course of the year, on what they thought had worked and that type of thing, and what they felt needed to be strengthened or improved for next year. And the last bit was to look forward to next year, like to get them thinking not just about last year now, but thinking about spring that's coming. And that, so they understand that this is just a period of rest. It's not a never ending,
Yeah.
soulless void. This is just a winter. It's a rest time. It's a sleep. And spring is coming and dawn is coming,
Yeah. And being good with the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
they say that this time is really super important. Actually, it's very important to both dreaming and to visioning. It's really this is the time. I mean, this is why, storytelling is so important at this point. The other thing that's going on right now in the world, in the land, is that there's all kinds of things happening in the soil, right? The tree roots, this is like we plant the trees in, late October, because they're getting themselves established through the winter through their roots. So we think everything's sleeping because we're seeing just the above, but down below, lots is going on, and that's kind of like it is for us too. If we yeah, kind of align ourselves with that possibility, I think.
yep,
Mhm.
it is amazing. You folks are amazing, the two of you and everyone on your board. You are literally, and this is it, you are literally creating a shift in the world.
Just like you're creating a shift in that soil, like literally, it's the same thing.
Actually, on that, speaking of the clay, we have soil reports from when they were first thinking of gardening and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
just recently, I brought home some of the clay from the same general area, and there's already been an improvement just in a couple of years of activity.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
That is awesome.
Mhm.
Um, I'm so thrilled you two joined us. I am certain that and well, just quickly, Lana says tonight the show is so warm my heart. I have so much respect for all four of you beautiful people. And also, I can't lie, I'm very happy to have date night back. Send all love and hugs. Tracy says it's magic. Every time I'm there, I say it. Ani Paul says, I love listening to Maureen speak. She's so passionate, and I so true that. Linda says, more of these, please. My heart is so full. This will go beyond successful. If we're going to restart the show tonight with the two of you as guests and all of the work that you've done and your board has done and the volunteers have done and the land has done, it's going to be very hard to top next week. Just to be clear, this was
Yeah.
maybe a bad idea.
It was a hard start.
But we
Good
have,
though. It's good.
yeah, it is excellent. And here's though the
Yeah.
first announcement we want to make is we have an extra day to plan for next week. Because moving forward, what's the news, Brennan?
We will now be streaming on Sundays. Same time, same place. Oh, I lied. Different place.
Oh, yes, yes,
Different place and a different day, but same time, 7 p.m. Eastern
Where?
Standard Time. We will be streaming on Sunday nights on YouTube.
Woo! That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
start using YouTube. Facebook, even tonight, was being a little bit troublesome.
And we've had issues too where we've been kind of like shadow banned for saying stuff and like have had videos drop with like copyright issues all the time. We always have issues with Facebook.
Yeah, and
So
so
it's gonna be a lot better.
so we're gonna try YouTube and I want to just show folks this is our YouTube page here. Where is it? Share screen. Oh, before I share that, I think your dad wanted me to share this.
Oh, I think I
If
know.
he didn't, I'm going to
Next picture.
apologize in advance. But ladies and gentlemen, check out this. This was, if I'm not mistaken, a Christmas gift from Mello, our friend Mello,
Yeah,
happens
yeah.
to be Brennan's mama. And
I
this
get yeah. It's
is
all good.
amazing.
So we got there's a picture of the three of us we got from the same person. Years ago, Maddie and Brady are both really small. It's like hanging up on the wall. And so my dad, this was like a surprise gift for my mom for Christmas. And so like he called us up. He's like, hey, like don't can you like pick up your sibling, blah blah blah, go get suits in the city and and yeah, so like gave this big framed one to my mom for Christmas and she was right happy and then gave them to like her grandparents and stuff.
Oh my God, how stunning and spectacular is that?
Yeah. My
Oh
baby
my
brother
goodness.
Brady on the left, baby brother Maddie on the right.
Yeah, that's
Looks so
amazing.
cool. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. I literally just fell in love with it. Okay. I don't know how to do this. Hold on a second here. Close window. There we go. That was amazing. That was so awesome. And did your mom cry or laugh?
I think she cried.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like crying
She kept
presents.
her
I like crying presents. But this is in fact where I wanted to bring us because this is Three Things YouTube channel. And so on this channel, you will find a button, which I can't show you because it's our own channel, and it says subscribe. So what we need to do is have you subscribe to our Facebook channel and click the little bell, the little alert button. And in fact, maybe I will,
Actually, if you refresh, you're already at 134.
oh,
Ooh.
look at that. Excellent. So so for an example, let's, oh, we don't want to, okay, so we don't want to play it. We don't want to get in trouble. But so what you would do is the Tonight Show, you would click this subscribe button. Does everyone see that button? Click that subscribe button. Click the likes when we are posting videos. And then you can also click, where's the little alarm thing, the little alert?
The notification button.
Yeah. Do I have to subscribe first?
I think. Oh yeah, it's right next to it's when you subscribe. That little bell that rang to the
It's
left.
integrated now. It's a drop down.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
And then
So
here,
click all.
all, you click all. Sound good? So when you go check it out tonight, visit the Three Things Facebook page. I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna unsubscribe to this because I do like it, but I don't need to have it fill my feed. But and where are we? Here's our channel. View your channel. So come on over to Three Things Consulting. Look at that 134. And when you click that subscribe and you click that bell, you're gonna get alerts when we go live every Sunday night at 7 o'clock. We're gonna be the new Disney. Oh, I guess did we say it earlier tonight? I guess we did. We had that. We're the new Disney.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what people are seeing right now. Sorry, I got all
We're seeing your screen, YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, hold on. Zoom. Oh, I don't know what's going on. I've completely lost everything. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been just a delight to be back. We are so excited to be here. Charlotte, amazing tonight. Love you all. Shut the front door. Love this so much. That picture is phenomenal, Brennan. That's Lana, Linda. Shut the front door. I love it. I love it. It's my favorite phrase of all time. And how do I stop sharing the screen? Oh my goodness.
The bottom middle, zoom.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's normally it's just oh, is it changed? I have no idea. Close. Okay, is that back?
Scuffed.
No. Oh yeah, yeah, we're back.
Who knows? I have no idea. Anyways, friends, it is 2024, and we are going to continue to have tremendous adventures together, individually, all of us, and in this world together. And may we and just keep mindful that not everyone has the same journey we have and the same privileges we have. And even our own selves at times are facing challenges, and let us be strong enough to reach out and ask for help and say, this is how I feel. When we can say those words to someone, whether it's a friend, a family member, a professional, it gives us the ability to walk in the path in a lighter way. And in 2024, the world could use a lighter way. Keep those in conflict zones around the world in our minds and in our hearts. Keep those who are still living in this country with a great deal of inequity, not just our own relations as Indigenous peoples, but all our relations. It is now winter for the first time here. It's cold for the first time. Can't help but think about our friends who are homeless. Can't help but think about our friends who are unwell and so often just don't even know that they're unwell or can't acknowledge that they're unwell. And we just hope that they find their path forward and that they stay warm, not just from the cold and the elements, but inside in their hearts and their spirits, and that we all stay warm in our hearts and spirits so that we can share that warmth as we move forward. It is a wonderful way to return on a Saturday night, the last Saturday night. And God, I don't know who we're going to get next week who's going to be able to even come close to you folks. But we will find someone, I'm sure. And we are so grateful to Sheldon and Maureen for joining us. And Brennan Gugu, my life is 1,000 times better when I see you face to face. And I am so looking forward to the show's return. And
Likewise, brother. Thank you.
My spirit was missing it tremendously. And your dad can keep sending those pictures because, oh my God, fantastic.
I think there was a couple more. Ask him, he'll probably send them.
Yeah. So we always end our show with some closing words, and maybe what we'll do is if
Can I
it's
go last?
yeah, you can totally go last.
Good.
And so we will start with Sheldon there. Any last words? I'm just going to hit mute and thing because I have just to run out the door for a quick second. Not out the door, but and I have to pee. That's really what I have to do. I drank a tea and 2 Diet Cokes while we visited, so I just can't.
I
So
feel ya.
I'll be listening to you, Sheldon.
Okay, well, I'm not really sure what to say other than thank you for having us tonight. It's been a long day of land trust and garden stuff now. We've been going since about noon. But it's wonderful to share these things with everybody and let them know what's going on. I do hope that more people do come out in the spring and find their place out there. That's why we do the work, is so that space is there for them and for you. So please come out. Maureen, you want to go next while Peter is urinating?
Well, yeah, Chimigwech for having us, opening up the space for us to share a little bit about the garden, about the project, and to help us with profiling the fundraising goal that we have. We really appreciate that. It's because being a small organization, a small collectivity, it's really like we don't have a lot of infrastructure, so this is hugely important. Which is why I think that love lives in the grassroots, because these kinds of possibilities are only, they come out of community relations. They help build community relations. So Chimigwech, we really appreciate it. It was really great to see that beautiful photo of you and your sibs. Holy jeez, Brendan!
Well,
Wow,
yeah.
like
It's crazy how
like
much
a
we all look
music
like it.
album. It looks really good.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Yeah,
we've
shout out
also-
to Portraits by Joanna. She does an amazing job. Always, I mean, she's just a phenomenal photographer, post editor, like the whole thing. So shout out to her. She's amazing job making those photos look great.
Actually, I do have one more thing to say before you go, Peter, if you don't mind. Brennan, anime picks this season. What do you got?
Oh man, I don't know. I didn't even finish. I still need to finish JJK,
Okay.
and I don't know, but I don't know. This is like from 2023, but like I still can't get over the ending of Attack on Titan. I'm
Right.
still riding that high.
All right. That's fair.
AOT. Yeah. But I have got into recently this really awesome manga that is getting an anime adaptation soon. Kaiju number 8.
Yep.
Highly recommend. This is really awesome. Awesome manga.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
I
they
appreciate that question a lot.
I didn't know that they both spoke Mi'kmaq and Mohawk, and that they could speak together at the same time in those languages. I assume that's what it was. Absolutely no idea what anything was just said.
Oh, and if any of you guys are in anime and haven't seen Chainsaw Man yet, phenomenal, amazing.
I thought this was a family-friendly podcast, Brennan.
That's true. You're true. Yeah.
I want to just give a shout out, Tony, Tony from the Blood Tribe is there. Tony, it was the in the tribe was the sort of the starting place of how Soaring to 2024 came to be. So I'm thrilled to see you here tonight. Awesome, my friend. And just to be clear, what was super cool is that there were 4 young people, in fact, who were at the Soaring to 2024, whose parents had been involved in programs we'd offered 20 plus years ago, 25 years.
That's cool. That's so good.
And so it was fantastic. And Tony, if you scrub back to the beginning of this you'll hear our take on the gathering. So it's great to see you here. And Brendan, it's all you to say a good night and close us
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna end on a little bit of a serious note. But just before that, just thank you guys, Lal and Maureen, Sheldon, for joining us. Like I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing, good medicine. Keep doing the work you're doing. Like, please yeah, just keep being that good medicine and just living in a good way. 'Cause, yeah, you feed so much positivity in the world, and the way you talked about the soil, and and Sheldon, like composting and literally creating Earth. You guys are like acting through, creation is acting through you, right? And it's just a beautiful thing to see. So don't ever stop that. Peter, it's always good, talk with you, chat with you, hear from everyone here and stuff, and hang out. And yeah, thank you everyone. Happy New Year as well. And I just want to give a shout out. If you guys are, praying people or um, ceremony, whatever, just drop some medicine down for Mi'kma'ki if you could. We had a few deaths kind of starting off the new year. Yeah, so just rest in peace to Waylon Foot Paul from Eskasoni. He's a young man from Eskasoni. He's a very well loved, beautiful person. Another Daniel Paul, who many people know, language carrier, pipe carrier. A huge person in everything, education, language, culture, just everything in Mi'kma'ki. And also just big shout out to the big homie Jordan Denny, rest in peace. He was 30 years old, I think, when he passed just the other day. So yeah, if you guys could just drop some medicine down for Eskasoni, member 2 Millbrook, and just everyone in Mi'kma'ki. And yeah, and again, thank you guys so much for joining us. It was a great way to start off. It was the first Saturday of the new year. Maybe not. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get back into it. I'm excited to see everyone week by week and learn from more and just meet some. I can't wait to see who we meet virtually this year and learn from and stuff. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us and sticking with us all these years later. And yeah, can't wait for the rest of it. Wow, and this. Guess who will.